Hey everybody, and by everybody I mean the two people that I told to actually go to this. Welcome to another Low on Health Daily Rambling. It's a little project that I basically just go over some of the interesting things I found on the net throughout the course of the last past 24 hours. So let's go and get this ball rolling. First off the bat here, we have Kotaku had listed 2009 top 5 selling games in Japan. In which case, Final Fantasy 13 was number 5, which is pretty good since it only had really 3 weeks in 2009. Next up is the Tamagotchi Collection. Then New Super Mario Bros. Wii is number 3, which you expect. Pocket Monsters Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which is number 2. And then, of course, Dragon Quest 9 is the number 1. And they basically mentioned that whenever you think of Japan top, whatever, it's always Nintendo and Square Enix. Whenever you think about it, so that's always funny. I am looking forward to Dragon Quest 9, even though I don't have a DS. Still, it should be a good game, and everybody says really good things about it. Next, I want to go to basically Dual Analogs had a funny little comic about the Final Fantasy 13 sales, to where it did have great sales. Maybe because of its linear story, the sales are going down. Mainly because nobody is word of mouthing it, and they're like, oh, well, now I gotta play that. And I've mentioned that before, and we'll see what happens when it comes out in the next couple months. Once again, I don't have it on pre-order from anywhere. I'll play it on the 360, and then maybe on the PS3 when I find it cheap, or if there's a collector's edition. Next up, let's real quick here check Xbox Live, see who's on real quick. We got a person playing Oblivion, somebody of course in the Netflix queue. Got Josh playing Prototype. Sarah's playing Shadow Complex, and Bishop's been away for an hour. Let me just go ahead and refresh that real quick, see if anybody else new has popped on or if any updates there. I know this is boring, but I kind of like seeing just what everybody's doing. And of course, as you can see, my friends list is rather small. I don't like big friends lists or big anything when it comes to MySpace and all that crap. Basically, right now, the only difference is Laura the Toast is watching Ghost Adventures Season 1. So I guess I'm calling him out on that. Let's just go ahead and move on here. Also off of Kotaku, they're basically going to make a Bancho movie, a live-action Bancho movie. And basically, I love the PSP game. I love the premise. It's basically a tough school, tough guys. I mean, you can read the description right there. I just really like the atmosphere of it. Hopefully, it'll come out. Maybe they'll bring over stateside. They brought the game over. Maybe they'll bring this over. But I like the whole Bancho, I like the whole tough guy thing. It's very cool. They don't always resort to guns and knives when it's just straight up, guy spirit. Let's see what else we got here. Gamefly. They did ship Bayonetta, which I know some of you also had it shipped to you. So hopefully I'll have that tomorrow, and maybe I'll do a little bit of talking about that if I get it and play it. Looking forward towards that, and then if you just want to... That's basically the rest of my queue there, which is basically a week and a week and a week and a week, all the way through basically March. So I'm hoping to find a job so I can start paying bills and stuff. I'm paying bills now, naturally, but just to kind of get my nest egg up again. But if not, I'll have some things to do at least. Next up, I want to go ahead and discuss, of course, the poll today from Gamefaq. They have their best of 2009 still, and they have the best PSP game of the year. They got Dissidia, Gran Turismo, Grand Theft Auto, Half Minute Hero, Little Big Planet, Loco Roco, Monster Hunter, Patapon 2, Prinny, and Resistance. Really, out of all those, I only played Loco Roco 2 and Dissidia. So I would have to say Dissidia, even though the story was extremely weak. The fighting system in it's very good. Half Minute Hero, I love the demo. It's very cool for the quick fix. Loco Roco 2 I did play and I found very subpar. I did play the first Patapon, but didn't like it that much, so I would probably never play the second. The Prinny series I'm maybe looking to get into, and of course Monster Hunter. I was kind of hoping to play on the PS3 until they moved it to the Wii, so whatever there. I mean, it's kind of... Monster Hunter is kind of like the Phantasy Star Online, I guess, of this generation. And another thing real quick, I mentioned the other day about the whole mag thing. Actually, I was able to turn on my PS3 today for some reason or another, and said, hey, what the hell, I'll try to get the demo, give it a try, right? Okay, so I just wrote some quick notes here about it. Basically, it was a 286 meg install, which took about 10 minutes, and then the install was about 2 minutes. Then it had an update, just the first update from the PSN, which was about 17 megs, and then had to install that. Then once I got into the game, there was another update. Apparently this was actually the game at 1.8 megs. or gigs. I'm sorry, 1.8 gigs, and that took almost an hour. Now, once that got rolling, after maybe about 2 hours of waiting and installing and updating, I was able to play the beta. And granted, it's a beta. I shouldn't knock it down, but it's a very interesting game. Let me throw up a video here of it real quick. It's very reminiscent, of course, of Modern Warfare. Essentially, it's more kind of squad-based. The big thing is it's 256 gamers online at once, and they basically break you up into squads, and they break you up into 3 different PMCs, and you kind of work over for territories. What's really reminiscent of this, it reminds me of Chrome Hounds, which is kind of a system I always liked online, where different clans and groups can get together and fight for different lands and take them over and have persistent wars and going back and forth, and that's kind of a more community-based thing. Mag, it's by the SOCOM people, I believe, and I just really don't like the visuals of it. It's very hard to see your enemies. Granted, that makes sense. It's just I don't like the feel of it compared to Warfare. Also with this one, it was a lot of waiting to respawn, which I guess, whatever, that's to each his own. But a lot of running from point A to point B, and I really don't like that in my shooters. I like to just kind of shoot, which is kind of like the Battlefield people are used to spawning and running out to the battle. It's not really one of my things. But this is interesting, for the PS3 thing. I mean, another thing is, too, the PS3 doesn't really do great networking and voiceover. It doesn't come with a headset. So most of the people don't communicate, and this is a big squad-based game, in which case people have to communicate with each other. In which case, I don't really know if that's going to work out. When I played the beta, there was one person with a thing saying, hey, there's a sniper over here, hey, there's a grenade over there, and nobody really knew where the hell he was talking about anyway. So Mag, it's interesting, not really my cup of tea. It's basically, more of a cross between Battlefield and, I guess, Modern Warfare. So, good for the PS3 people. I just don't think they should tout this as the next biggest thing. They did that with Haze, and that kind of blew up in their faces.